I'm now joined by Hloniphizwe Mtolo, who's the chairman of Shell South Africa. He joins me to share his thoughts on attracting foreign direct investments, particularly in the energy industry here in South Africa. Chairman, thanks so much for your time. You're talking about, we were having an informal conversation before this interview actually began, and you're talking about how Shell is actually quite positive about the South African economy, so much so that you're looking to ramp up the kind of investments that you're making here. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I mean, it's good for having us here. So from our point of view, this is a very good market. If we look at where we invest all over the world, we've looked at South Africa as one of the markets where investing here is a positive thing, because we believe that South Africa is open for business. And if we look at our activities in this market, they've shown that we can grow and we can deliver profitability for us shareholders, and also we can add value in terms of what is happening in the country, and we can be a real a player that contributes to society here and really play a meaningful role in the country.
What a breath of fresh air to finally hear something that's a positive from business about putting more money here in the economy, because that's not the narrative right now. But let's speak about specifically what Shell is doing. So how much in investments are we looking at, and exactly what are you investing in?
So if you look at our business is almost in three buckets. What we call our upstream business, which talks to exploration and things like that. And then we have what we call midstream, which for us talks about the creation of a gas-based industry. But then you talk about downstream. Downstream for us is when you talk right from our refining activities right up to the end consumer. So if I were to talk specifically about the downstream business, there's a lot of investment that we're putting into the country. In the downstream business, there's a number of different businesses that we have within that. We have our retail business, we have our commercial fuels businesses, we also have our refining business. In the refining space, for instance, we're investing quite a bit in making sure that we start producing cleaner fuels, which is in line with our concerns about the environment. So we're starting to produce cleaner fuels, and there's a lot of investment that is going behind that. If I were to touch on our retail business, is that firstly, we're building new locations. This year alone, we're going to be building 22 new locations, which
petrol filling stations.
Yes, petrol service stations. And at the same time, we're investing in refreshing the existing service stations that we have.
Where are the 12 new stations going?
22 throughout the country.
Right, okay.
Throughout the country, there's a number of them happening around the Gauteng area. There's a number of them happening even in Northwest. We're busy building a double-sided motorway in the Northwest.
But why? Because I ask this because when you look at motor sales data here in South Africa, the domestic car market is not doing so well. In fact, it's been on the decline for a number of years. People simply can't afford to buy cars. So who are you building these filling stations for? So
if you look at the growth is relatively low in terms of fuel volume growth. Remember that in terms of the economy does have a little bit of growth. So as the economy grows, the energy demands also grow. So we're finding that the fuel volume, there's a bit of growth that is there. But what we've done is that we've identified the areas where we have not in the past been properly represented, and we're investing in those areas to say, let's take advantage of our presence being on the low side, and we're increasing our presence in those areas. But more importantly is that we're shifting what our service stations look like, and the offers that we're putting on our service stations. So we're responding to what the customer is looking for, because we believe that our job is to give energy to customers. It's energy for our bodies or energy for our cars. So we're looking at our convenience stores to make sure that our convenience stores also are moving with the times. We have what our customers are looking for. So that is giving us an opportunity to grow.
How are you protecting your business model from the future and more electric cars being on the road, more autonomous cars being on the road, and fuel or petrol in its normal form not being as essential to those cars as it is to our cars now?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at the energy sector is in transition at the moment. So there's different needs, and we have to therefore respond accordingly. So if you talk about electric cars are cars of the future, and we are already starting to look at how are we going to answer that demand from the consumer. When the energy cars start coming to South Africa in numbers, you will see us starting to have electric charging stations. Those kind of things are already in our plans, and we are developing those. So our plans in terms of our demand of energy and demand for fuel, we've looked at what is the demand going to be like between today and 2050. And we plan our needs and our supply that it's going to talk to what the customers are going to be needing between today and 2050. And we've obviously staggered our investment to respond accordingly to that.
You didn't tell me how much. How much is that investment?
We're spending a lot of money. If I can give you one example, for the retail business, which is one of our number of businesses, in this year and next year alone, for the 2 years, we're looking at putting an additional R1 billion in terms of what we're doing.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah, and we are putting money in the other businesses as well.